Okay, I shot this video recently and it didn't work out at all well, so now I'm going to try and get my message to you as clear as I can, and doing so in a manner which is a bit difficult because of the nature of the subject. Okay, the specific subject here is that of higher entities. And this is when everything gets a bit weird, because it's hard to say precisely how these experiences can happen and what it is they specifically mean and what they latch on to. Okay, in occult theories, going back to the time of Crowley and the rest of that, it said that you can either deal with a god in some respects, like making a pact or an agreement with it or something, or you become the god and then you act as if you were the god, which sounds very grandiose. But what does any of that mean? It's getting complicated now because I'm reaching this point of even more I don't know. Okay? The state of mind associated with trying to communicate with these things is very much upper, very much higher, very slightly vertigo-like, and very slightly extra open, hyper aware. It's difficult to describe. These things feel different. Their presence feels different than other things. The energy appears to be very ethereal, very ephemeral, very light, very much carrying meaning, but not a meaning you can quite hear or receive or understand. And therefore, I mean, you can only perceive something if you've got the capacity to perceive it. All right, you can't perceive the nuances of plot arcs in a story unless, of course, you understand what plot arcs are. You've got that, in your perception, in your understanding, in who you are and what you are. So therefore, it would make sense that any variety of energy or entity that you are connecting with is somehow related to the shape and structure of your energy field, your aura, your being, your chakras, your perceptions, and your understanding. You are not a superior person if you have these experiences. Okay, you are not a superior person if you have these experiences, because they are somewhat intoxicating. They can fill you full of thoughts as to what is true or what is real or whatever. But we are humans and we make mistakes. We're just primitive little monkeys who happen to have cell phones. Okay, these things feel external. It doesn't feel like it's something which is internal to your being. It feels external. It feels higher. It feels higher level. I mentioned this in my writings on deism a while ago, on transcendental deism, that there appears to be this higher level, maybe above the atmosphere or beneath the condensation level of the atmosphere, and there seems to be consciousness there. I don't know whether that's part of it, and that's why we have an instinct that the divinity or whatever is physically higher, or whether that's just a psychological thing which us humans do to suggest that height refers to, I don't know, a gamma wave, brainwave frequency and the development of anomalous situations. Hitting the tone or the note of these things, the states of mind, is hard, and staying in them during the time when you're trying to do these things is also hard and challenging, and I certainly wouldn't be able to turn around to you and say that I can do it just like that, because it's rubbish. It happens. My general state of being these days is much closer to the state of that sort of vertigo, slightly hyper-aware feeling, and maybe that's helping. Why that would be brought about, I'm not sure. Is the developmental exercises? Is it because it's the autumn and I've got a cold and I'm feeling slightly feverish? I don't know. There could be numerous reasons for this, and I certainly do not, by any stretch of the imagination, consider myself to be a superior being because I've had them. But there is something going on there. And it is strange, and it's part of the expansion of the consciousness as a result of piety, living a spiritual or religious life, opening yourself up, doing the preparatory exercises, and just developing yourself somehow, changing your sense of perception and attention and intention to the point whereby things can happen. So essentially, you can't be the God, you can't be in the role of the divine energy to speak from its point of view, and therefore to speak is to create the word abracadabra. That's what it means, to make things happen, unless of course you've had the divine experience. So as I've said before, if you're brave enough to pretend to be a Christian for a few hours, then why don't you go to one of these churches that has the blessing, the Toronto blessing. I've detected some very similar energy that I received in the Toronto blessing in other places of worship, but you know, there is something there, and I think that there's something about being in a place of worship which does sort of bring that kind of energy to the place. Why it would happen that way, I don't know. Why human intention and prayer and meditation and hymns and chanting and all the rest of it would do these things to a place, I don't know. But it appears in places of worship. And once you've experienced it and you remember what it feels like to experience it, you can bring it to the surface again. You can create the experience again. Again, not reliably, but it can be done periodically. These things seem to have an objective existence. I could easily be wrong. I could easily just be crazy. You know, think what you want. But there is something about that, and a component of that particular experience, of that particular phenomena. And if everything happens in nature, it happens in accordance with natural laws, so therefore it's natural. There is, on the basis of spiritual experience, a reason to believe in God. Genuinely. But belief is not knowledge. Belief is just based upon folk myths and personal experiences and nothing else. So again, more and more questions. But my point here is that with a combination of luck as well as the right developmental exercises, these things can happen for you. It won't make you a better person. It will not make you superior. It will give you other things to contemplate about, but it won't do anything else. As far as I can tell, I think that is a place that some good quality spiritual healing energy comes from, and possibly a place through which we can send intentions through the scalar fields, and is possibly very similar to some of the states of mind appropriate to radionics. And it occurs through piety, opening the chakras, mindfulness meditation, through the body scan meditation and the ascension meditation. Those appear to be the components of personal development, which leads up to the possibility at some point of some variety of anomalous experience. I don't know why the universe would be made this way, nor can I work it out. But it's the way it seems to be. I'll leave it out there for you to decide. You may have decided I'm just a blissed out hippie or whatever. You know, you make up your own mind. I don't care. But this is just me reporting what I've experienced, and then there'll be a question of further contemplation as to what I can do with it with the passage of time. Yeah. Magical entities appear to be real, but you can't reach them until you've got that state of mind in place. And you've had it, and you've experienced it, and you've worked out that it can happen, and that you can potentially do more things with it, but we don't still know what. Okay?